David, how do you stay so positive and upbeat, and how could we access that same energy?
Well, to me, it's all about rituals, Jessica. It's about daily rituals, setting and plan. And that might sound like a little clinical or sterile at first, but whatever we set from a ritualistic point of view, how we get up in the morning, what we listen to, what we do at lunchtime, and how we go to bed, what we listen to just before we go to bed, what we read just before we go to bed, has everything to do with how we react to stress and how we create success and joy in our lives. And I think a lot of times people don't look at the fact that they're in control. I mean, you don't control the weather, you can't control your partner, your children, your coworkers, but there's so much of life we can control if our attitude is constantly being renourished. And my attitude is renourished on a daily basis by getting up and through the ritualistic practices of gratitude, meditation, prayer, first thing in the morning. And before I go to bed, making sure I'm reading something very uplifting. As a matter of fact, last night I just started reading for I don't know how many times now, the wonderful multi-trillion selling book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, by the author Richard Bach. And in there, you know, it's a story about a seagull, but it's really the story of all of us reaching heights never thought that we could before. This little seagull, throughout the whole book, he reaches, he's different, he's unique, he doesn't care what other people think. And he experiences life at such a powerful level. So what we get up with and what we go to bed with is crucial to creating the attitude that I have been blessed with, but also created.
It seems so simple, but yet it's so profound because it really is the little things that make the biggest difference. So how can we let go of the bad habits and patterns that hold us back from experiencing our authentic selves?
I think, Jessica, when people write down for a week what they do every day, when they start to get an idea of what they're listening to, what they're watching on TV, what they're reading, when they write down who they're hanging out with, and are they a positive influence or are they gossipers? And which means that we are. You know, if we're hanging out with people that are negative and they're the doomsayers and they're the gossipers, that means that's part of who we are. We are reflected with who we hang out with. So we really have to take a look at and being responsible for our happiness by saying, let me write out just for 5 or 7 days what I do every 30 minutes. Let me get really in tune, conscious, in the moment, present, so that then I can make the changes that are necessary, number one. And then number two, I think it's really important that we have accountability partners in life. It might be a partner, a best friend. Heck, it could even be your child that holds you accountable to getting into the gym and praying every day and meditating and these type of things. I think if we just follow those 2 steps, write down what we do on a daily basis, number one, decide the changes we're going to make, and then ask someone to hold us accountable. We're not here to live life by ourselves, and someone else holding us accountable can make all the difference in the world.
I know peace can feel like a foreign concept that's out of reach these days. Joy and peace go hand in hand. How do you define peace, and how can we find or create peace in the hustle and bustle of daily living?
One of the greatest teachers that I have ever been associated with, his name is Ram Dass. And I remember a story Ram told that he was at a lecture, and he did this whole 3 or 4 hours on what is the definition of enlightenment. And he talks forever, and he's got so many great stories. At the end of the lecture, there was a microphone in the middle of the room, and one of the participants came up and said, you know, Ram, you've talked throughout this whole day about enlightenment, but you never gave a real true definition of enlightenment. Could you do that for us? And he started laughing because he is so long-winded that he forgot to give a definition. So he said, well, let me give you a couple examples of a person who's enlightened. They come into their house and their partner's there, and within a couple minutes they start going down the road of the similar argument. Same argument, different face, but it always comes up on a daily or weekly basis. The enlightened person, after about 10 seconds of seeing where the conversation is going, stops. And in their mind they go, disagreement with partner, and they allow their partner to win. He said, that's enlightenment. And then he said, I'm going to give you one more story, because enlightenment is inner peace. You're going to the airport, and you've left 2 hours earlier than you normally do. So you know you have all kinds of time to get there, and you're a couple miles from the airport, and there's an accident. And you know you're never going to make it, even by planning to your best ability, you're never going to make the flight. And you sit in your car, and you say, accident, missed flight, and you relax into the moment. You know, Jessica, those are probably two of the most profound examples of how much power we have when it comes to inner peace. That we see our old reaction has never brought us inner peace, so we make a choice. And that choice is not to control our partner, but to allow them to win. As a matter of fact, in my work, when I work with couples, I tell them about 97% of our ongoing arguments are an absolute waste of time. 3% are worth getting into it over. But if we let our partner win 97% of the time, we would experience peace. And I think if your listeners could think about these examples, the two stories of Ram Dass and the 97%, 3%, we could have so much more peace starting right now, today.